officially bring our meeting to order. Welcome, everybody, to our April meeting. Miss Carlin or Miss Erica, could you call the roll, please?
Chairperson Villa-Gomez,
Present.
Mr. Dara,
Here.
Mr. Fulton, Mr. Scales, Miss Beverly Williams, Miss Sheila Williams. She's here. Okay. And
Yes, we heard you, Sheila. Thank you.
Okay.
and Miss Wilson.
Present.
Thank you. Could we have a motion to adopt last month's meeting minutes?
I may move that we adopt the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
Thank you. All right, well, I will move on to my report. We had a wonderful set of events for We Built This. I would love to have Miss Wilson and Miss Simon talk about their major role in both the first event where the students from WSSU presented, and then that glorious community conversations meeting that we had a few weeks back, where I truly want to give credit to Miss Annette Wilson, accolades galore. She was really a shining star, really shared so many wonderful and uplifting and interesting stories. And both Miss Wilson and Miss Simon really networked on behalf of AAHI and had some great conversations with Michelle and Heather. So I wanted to make sure we leave room for those conversations. I did mention before we officially got started that there were several people that expressed their interest in joining or rejoining our committee, which would be wonderful. So we'll work on that collectively. And I should also state publicly that Heather and Michelle from Historic Resources Commission have just done so much to continually support the work of this committee. And so I'm really grateful to them. And they're going to continue to do so. And I believe that Miss Simon and Miss Wilson might have even more information on some of the follow-up conversations we had, where Michelle McCullough mentioned that she would like to organize some informal and sort of safe spaces to meet with small groups of elders, possibly at her home, so that we can encourage them to share, and that we can continue to develop relationships with them. Of course, some of them are close people to some of us here present, but I think that's really, really exciting. And so I think we have plans to move forward with that. We Built This, of course, is not going away. It'll be moving to other places. I believe Wake Forest decided to take the exhibit. I'm not sure where it's going to be housed, but apparently they picked up the exhibit last week. That was something that the city and Winston-Salem State were not involved in, but you can pass the word if there's anyone you know who didn't get to see it. While we sponsored it officially, they can find out where it's being housed over at Wake. And of course, our students are continuing to work on their papers. And so some of them will be presenting their final presentations at the very end of the semester. The open invitation for you all to come in to one of our class sessions and share your oral histories and give the students evidence for their final papers. That invitation is still open. We're still meeting twice a week, and the students are still really passionate in their research on behalf of the community and what they're doing with the We Built This research for AAHI. So just putting that word back out there, we would absolutely love to have you, and we could schedule you in Zoom rather than having you come to campus if you prefer. But we would also love to have you come to campus. So again, that's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30 to 1:45. So then I'll move on. I think after I present would be a great time for everyone involved here to talk about We Built This, their final thoughts. And I should really, truly thank Ms. Simon for representing our DEI and Human Relations Office and really being on board with us to plan, as well as Ms. Annette Wilson and Ms. Sheila Williams. And Mr. Tom Flynn, my colleague at Winston-Salem State. So we really were, I think, a wonderful team in terms of just our vision and that community spirit. And I look forward to us being involved in other events that AAHI can support and be a part of. So I just wanted again to thank you all for all the extra time and effort you put into both planning the exhibition and all of the related events, and then being there and really making those events special. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I don't know if I've ever been involved in a project that was so uplifting and encouraging. And it was just beautiful and a blessing to support the achievements of our great Black leaders and creative architects and builders and entrepreneurs who've really built our city and built our state. It was just great. So thanks again, everyone. For mapping prejudice, we're moving along. Dr. Russ Smith is bringing more people on board, more organizations on board. We're going to be getting our students involved starting probably in the summer to help and maybe even lead the community events where we'll have folks evaluate contracts, property deeds to look for the illegal exclusionary language to keep African Americans out of properties. And so I think this is going to be a really incredible project to support. Dr. Smith has connected with even city and county agencies across the state, and there's an idea that we may make this eventually a statewide collaborative project. So we're really, really excited. I did learn last week as I was reviewing some new publications, one on Maddie Hall Zuma, for instance, that was so interesting. And I was reminded of the fact that early on in the late 19th century and early 20th century, Black folks were able to buy property. For instance, the Halls, Dr. Hall and his wife actually bought the property that had belonged to R.J. Reynolds and Catherine Reynolds, right where their mansion used to be, where our central library is. And now, of course, it's the central library, but the Halls had bought there and built there and built and sold homes in that vicinity. And so the Reynolds and the Hayneses wanted Black folks to be able to live among white folks and to be very comfortable. And they even sold their own properties, their own private properties to Black citizens. But we know that that situation shifted and terrible things happened later as we progressed, into the 20th century. So wonderful changes have happened at the policy level in several states that are doing comparable projects. So I would be very happy to share more information if you have questions. Otherwise, I would request that if you support this, we could vote to officially support the Mapping Prejudice project. Are there any questions that I can answer? Would someone, oh, Miss Annette, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't have any questions, so I was asking, did you need the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I move that we support the project Mapping Prejudice.
Thank you, Miss Annette. Would someone care to second the motion to support Mapping Prejudice?
Awesome.
Believe Mr. Duras seconded the motion. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Could we take the official vote to have AAHI officially support the Mapping Prejudice project? And we've been joined now by our beloved and most beautiful director. Hello, Wanda.
Hi, how you doing, Chair Gomez?
I'm doing well. I'm seeing
Very
you.
good.
We're
Very
so
good.
happy to have you here with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I had my camera off, but I thank you. And I just wanted to mention that you will need a roll call vote. Just wanted to remind you, since you're virtual, that you all will need a roll call vote. So if you would like for Carlin to do the roll call vote,
Yes.
okay.
Chairperson Villa-Gomez,
Approve, yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yeah.
and Mr. Dara.
Yes.
And since we do have a quorum, yay, I'm so happy. We have a quorum, and so the motion has been approved for AAHI to officially support the Mapping Prejudice project. Thank you all so very much. You just made my year. Thank you so much. It's going to be a great project to be a part of. Thank you. Well, finally, we have Juneteenth planning. And so this year's flying by. And as we know, we get started thinking about Juneteenth every spring. It's really a wonderful occasion, of course, to celebrate our Black community locally and nationally. And it's a great time to really network and really plug what we do. So I think it's the next 2 months are going to fly by. So I think it's great if we can get started early. If anybody has any thoughts, we can have an open discussion about what you might want to do this year and maybe media materials that we could have on hand for Juneteenth. And I'm not sure what the city is planning this year, but I think it would be helpful if we could at least start the conversation on what we want to do.
And Chair Gomez, if I may, I would like to ask Ms. Erica Simon to talk about Juneteenth from the department's perspective, because the department is a sponsor of Juneteenth. And actually, the department is one of the founding partners of the Juneteenth Festival as we know it. And so it's a really special thing for Human Relations DEI and also for your sister advisory board, the Human Relations Commission. And so I would just ask Erica to speak on that And Erica, I know you're active also with Juneteenth as a volunteer, but I think this year you won't be in attendance. Is that correct?
No, I will be here. I will be here.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so glad. I didn't even really want to think about that. But yes, I will be here. Juneteenth is June 15th. I thought we were celebrating it that following week, but it is June 15th. Again, there will be two components, actually several components. There's actually going to be a brunch this year as well, but the inside Biotech Place, the outside Bailey Park. We're still finalizing details, but obviously we will have a table there. It generally is the same place every year, right there under the steps. And that portion will end at 5. And so I guess it will be up to AAHI to decide how long, what exactly they would like to do. Because I think in past years, we tried to collect oral histories, and just because of the sound and because it is growing. So I don't even think any of those rooms back on the back hallway will even be available this year. The auditorium will not be available. So I think the last wrap-up meeting, we talked about just getting information and talking to people about what AAHI is. I'm not sure if you still want to continue along that lines, or if anybody else has any other ideas about what you would like to do. But there is that kind of in a nutshell.
Miss Annette has a comment or question.
I agree with you that trying to do the oral histories that day is not practical. So rather than just pass out information, could we possibly have a form that we could have people fill out to say, I am interested in sharing my oral history, and the best time for us to contact them, and then we follow up? Because I think the people are kind of like me, how I was previously. They often don't think they have a story to share. So I think our role that day would be telling them, you do have a story to share, and then reach back out to them to actually set up a time. Because for me personally, getting people to serve on the team and go out and do stuff, that has not worked. But after the participating in the We Built This conversations, I think the small group conversations would be better. And if we could, like, for instance, I'd be willing to start by inviting maybe 4 people, because I don't know whether it's practical to do more than 4 at a time if we're trying to get their actual histories. So if we could have a form that, where we sign them up for us to contact them back and schedule it, versus just in addition to telling them about it. And I'd be willing to work on, some of the follow-up calls and work.
And I'm sorry, Miss Annette. I was just going to suggest that maybe if you all could focus on having your collection teams to be present at Juneteenth, that may be a good thing too, because depending on what people may want to share, there could be some who would be able to do some things on site and on the spot, not necessarily oral histories, or maybe oral histories, but I want to remind everyone that the whole premise is to make sure that you all aren't shouldering everything yourselves. You're supposed to have teams helping you. Like if you remember where your areas of focus were. And then, for instance, we had a young man who reached out to us just last week, Jeremiah Washington, who is interested in serving on one of the collection teams. And so if we can have people there, and then we as staff can make sure that the equipment is on site, just in case. And I know it's not ideal, it's loud, it's busy and all of that, but just in case, if we can have equipment there and people in place, at least they can discuss things. They may be able to even collect some things on the spot. But I just really did not want you all to feel overwhelmed, like everything was, falling on you, because it's really, really not supposed to be like that. Y'all are leading and you're assembling your teams, and that's your role. And then, of course, if you choose to take a more direct and active role, that's certainly fine and appropriate as well. But I didn't want you to feel like you're out there all by yourselves.
Oh, no, I didn't feel that way, but I just know as I tried to reach out to people to be on the team, I haven't had much success with that kind of commitment. So I thought that maybe try the reverse and just, well, just try something different. But Jeremiah did reach out, and so I'd be willing to work with him, and maybe we could do something together to expedite this project.
Okay, and we could even help get the word out in terms of inviting some of the members of your sister boards, like from the Human Relations Commission,
Okay.
the Youth Advisory Council, the College Advisory Board, for those who will still be in town. You know, college students may be gone home, but for those who are local, if they're still here and if they want to help out, they may be good ones as well to just kind of get on board to help out, especially at something like that at Juneteenth.
Okay, and if we put in the information about, I know the Miss Johnson who was at the second We Built This event, that she came prepared with information to be scanned, but he asked her to leave it because he wanted to put it in a better preservative, I guess, context. So
Yes.
if we could maybe focus on having people bring their pictures, but if they do, would we be able to scan them right then? Or will
Well,
we still have to set that up for a later time?
That's the thing. I don't think any of those rooms that were available last year on that back hallway will be available this year.
Okay.
I'll check to make sure, but it sounded like from our last meeting that they would not be.
Okay. Well, I know for me personally, the team concept has not worked, and that might be me, but I just thought because of the things I've been around this past time, that if we could go ahead and follow up with people, that would be better.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree. I think I think we all saw the potential for those smaller sort of community conversations, and we're thinking about how we can really sort of go to the people, which is something Councilperson Scipio has been really encouraging us to do. And I believe she had, I don't remember if it was Erica or Carlin who sent out a list of all of the groups that meet, the seniors that meet from our community, at least in the East Ward. But I really appreciate the reminder from our director, because we should be going out and really trying to encourage people to join our teams, along with encouraging people to consider sharing their stories or any of their pictures and whatever sorts of things we could possibly digitize. And maybe we can be proactive over the summer. I won't be teaching. I'll be teaching online, but maybe we can start thinking about which groups we would like to focus on and connect with them. And if they meet weekly or monthly, if a few of us go out, we can try to encourage them to join our collection teams. Maybe that will be one way to get more people involved.
And Chair Villagomez, what we could do also is reach out to marketing to see if perhaps we can have some sort of press release or public notice put out on the airwaves, on TV, social media, whatever, saying that the AAHI will be present at Juneteenth to collect documents, photos, newsletters, articles, whatever people may have to share to be uploaded on our digital library. So maybe if that is put out in advance, and a lot of people are going to be at Juneteenth anyway,
Right.
so all they would have to do is bring it with them. Just bring it with them, and it complements the whole mission and purpose of Juneteenth. So maybe that would be a good thing to do. But in addition, like I said, I think that if Carlin could follow up with the HRC, Ronnie, if he could follow up with CAB, and Erica, if she could follow up with GAC, we can ask them also about giving some of their time to help with some of these collection teams. They wouldn't be necessarily permanent members of the team, but they could help, maybe starting with Juneteenth, and if they have any time during the summer. So that's something that I'm asking the three of them to do, just to follow up to see if we could get them on board, because Juneteenth could get it kind of going. And
Right.
then, and maybe even before that, some of these folks may want to get into it before that, but certainly thereafter, like you said, Chair Villagomez, during the summer, if they have some free time, because school won't be in, at least for our youth council, they could potentially help you all.
Do you think we could possibly do another, I think it was prior to COVID, or it must have been prior to COVID, when we did the PSA type blurb where we talked about our teams and whatever. Maybe we could do another one of those and maybe show examples of because I think people are probably like me. They don't really realize how valuable their stories and their artifacts are. And so maybe we could talk about like show maybe a program or some photographs, or these would be of value in our collection. If you have old annuals, or if you have programs or whatever, or newspaper clippings, just actually talk about, you probably have these things in your house and you don't, maybe talk about it in terms, I don't know if we could use this term, but maybe hidden treasures that you possess hidden treasures, that kind of thing, and give examples to people. Because like I said, I think people don't realize the value of what they have and the information and even of their experiences, or, like maybe give an example, or did you used to participate at the OY, or things like that,
Absolutely.
Maybe work with marketing on that. And then again, I think with us teaming up together and approaching people, or even sponsoring some more small group conversations, and maybe work with the recreation centers, because Brown Douglas does focus on the senior population, and maybe we could work with them to say, can we have an event at your center, and go from there.
Absolutely. And Erica, is that something that you could work with Mary and marketing on, just trying to get some information out to the public leading into Juneteenth? Sort of like Miss Annette just described, a PSA, maybe have a description of the collection teams. I know that oftentimes they don't want the PSAs to be so long, but just some kind of an overview that'll be impactful, so that people will understand, A, the AAHI will be doing collections at Juneteenth, and B, what it is that AAHI is looking for. And then they can maybe get more information there, about the collection teams and the push for the summer collections. Maybe that would be a strategy they could undertake. And unfortunately, I know we have the city staff updates coming up. We don't have anyone on today from marketing. But again, that's something that hopefully Erica would be able to speak with them about and make it happen. We do have time. That's the good thing. It's only April. So we have some time, hopefully, to pull that together with them.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for all of those great suggestions. I did want to thank Ms. Wanda and your staff. Once I looked into all of the wonderful ways the city marketed we built this and AAHI's involvement, I was really blown away. I think everybody probably got that email. So there was all sorts of wonderful coverage, and I think people are starting to recognize who we are and what we do, what our mission is. And so I think we can build off of the momentum there. Well, thank you so much. I believe we can move on to our director's announcements. Thank
I
you.
think I jumped ahead of you, Chair Villa-Gomez. Those were the things, that I had in my head, and I kind of went ahead and showed my hand. So I really honestly didn't have anything else to add beyond what we just discussed. So yeah, that would be for that. That was what I was planning to kind of delve into, and I kind of already did. And as I mentioned, we don't have anybody up here this time from marketing or from our IS department. And so unless the staff has something to add, I do not. So Erica, Carlin, Ronnie, do y'all have anything we're missing that we need to advise AAHI of? No, I'm seeing everybody shaking their heads no.
Right.
No, but I will say,
Uh-huh.
I finally found the tree. I finally saw the tree.
Did you good?
My dad lives up almost on Northampton, right there at the end of New Walker Town Road. So I said, Dad, where's the tree?
Oh,
And
okay.
I thought I saw it on the way to his house, and he gave me kind of a something to look out for. He said there's a tree down in the driveway, and so on the way back out, I saw it. So
okay.
that was pretty cool to be able to identify it.
Right. And if you Google Manuel Johnson, there was an article on it last year that they reprinted in the journal, but it might be under his name.
Is it Emmanuel or just Manuel?
No, Manuel, Manuel.
So I did ask him about
Mm-hmm.
him remembering if my granddaddy and grandmama went to different. And I said, well, Daddy, why don't you come and give your, and he, kind of,
Well,
he's a little stubborn.
Right. I understand.
But yeah, and the last discussion was awesome. I agree that I think we need to definitely take them into spaces where people are used to being.
Right.
And they'll talk more. Because you would like to think that when you put a flyer out there about an event that people will come, but you just never ever know what they have going on or whether they think it's something they really need to attend or not. So
I think that's how a lot of people feel. Yeah.
So if we take it to them, I think they'll feel a little bit more comfortable. So that's kind of my comments for that.
Agreed, Erica. Definitely agreed. And one last thing too, this is totally not related to what you all just discussed, but Chair Villa-Gomez, do you recall whether or not you all have already voted about having a vice chair?
Oh no, we had conversations, but we being that we haven't had a quorum until today, so I'm glad you remembered. We could do that today if since we have a quorum, if our members are open to that.
Because I think you had you put the ask out there, right? And I think you had.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So would it just be a matter of voting on? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I do want to say before we have the discussion on that, that I liked that we had an interactive report, a conversational report. So that was nice. So thank you. Well, are there questions? I know that we could take nominees or volunteers for a vice chair to serve. And this would be, of course, this was a position filled by our beloved late Miss Jane Penn.
And the primary purpose is for the vice chair to be able to preside over meetings when the chair is not able. That's really the main function of the vice chair with this particular committee.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome. Anything else that you wanted to add to that, Chair Villagomez? I think that, I mean, you are usually present. You're very engaged, and you're a strong chair. So I would not imagine that there probably would be too many other expectations that you would have for the vice chair.
Correct. Miss Jane really helped me so much. She really welcomed me in and really helped me to understand what I was doing and what my role would be. And so I was so grateful to her for that. And so whoever would serve, I also think that person might eventually step into the position I have as we rotate. I love, this is like my life, so I love doing this, but we want to be collaborative. And so I would think that eventually the vice chair might become the executive chair, but of course we could see where that would go. But I would love to work with anybody who is here if they would care to serve. So would anybody like to volunteer or make a nomination for a vice chair for our AAHI committee? Well, if no one has questions or would like to nominate someone, then I will nominate Miss Annette Wilson. She's an original member of our committee. She is so well connected in our community, and she's a walking history book and is continuing to serve, I believe, on the Historic Markers Committee with HRC, and has just been so wonderfully and actively involved in our last project. So I nominate Miss Annette Wilson to serve as vice chair.
Just for the record, though, I do not have any desire to assume the chairmanship, but I definitely will work with you. And I guess my other question is, do you have a list of when our terms expire? Because I'm not sure that I have too much more time on here.
Truthfully, I believe all of our terms have expired. But I think because of COVID, we're sort of right now just serving, I don't know if it would be in interim positions. And I believe maybe that's something we could address with Councilperson Scipio.
Okay.
And Chairperson Villagomez, yes, Councilmember Scipio had said that she felt that it would only be fair to allow you all to continue to serve because during COVID, of course, you weren't able to do anything in person. You know, we had the lockdown, and then even after the lockdown, we had states of emergency declared by the governor and the mayor, and then there were restrictions about gatherings, and so I do recall that discussion that you're referencing, Chair Villagomez, your recollection, that is coming from something that, yes, Councilmember Scipio had alluded to. And so the Human Relations Commission actually is in a similar position. And the commission is actually planning to meet with the city attorney to discuss, not the full commission, just a couple of people, just to fully discuss and understand what that looks like and what that may mean for advisory boards. And so we should have clarification and more information about how to proceed with that in the coming month or so. And of course, Chair Villagomez, if you would like to join that meeting, I can certainly give you more information about it. But that's kind of where we are with that.
Thank you. We appreciate those updates are very helpful. I would be very interested in joining that meeting. And I know I would love to continue to serve this committee in some capacity. So we'll see what the future opens up. But Miss Annette, no one would force you to step into the chair's position. That was just something that I had been thinking about.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I don't mind serving in the vice chair position if that is the pleasure of the group.
And I would love to, continue working with you. You teach me so much, and you've given us such wonderful suggestions as we're moving forward in some new directions. So Ms. Carlin, could we take the vote, please? Or do I need to motion for the vote?
Yeah, someone would need to make a motion. Maybe someone could make a motion about Ms. Annette serving as vice chair. Someone could second and so forth.
Would someone care to make a motion to vote on Miss Annette Wilson's, for us to vote for her to assume the role of vice chair? Someone like to make?
I could do that.
Thank you.
I nominate, I'm Robert Dura. I nominate Annette Wilson to serve as the vice chair, and I'm looking for a second.
Thank you, Mr. Dura.
I second. I think I was muted. Sorry. I second.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. So we have, so we can move forward with the vote.
Chairperson Villagomez?
Yes, I approve Ms. Annette Wilson for vice chair.
Okay, Mr. Dura?
I approve.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
And Ms. Williams?
Yes.
So, Ms. Annette Wilson, there has been a unanimous approval for you to serve. So welcome. You are our new vice chair of AAHI. I'm so happy. Yay.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for being so willing to serve. Thank you. Ms. Wanda, any other? You have a wonderful memory. So since we have a quorum, is there anything else that you can think of that we haven't been able to address without a quorum?
No, because you talked about the project with Dr. Smith and the vice chair and so on. So I think you all are in good shape with what you might have needed to vote on. And you voted on minutes. You approved the minutes. And so I think that's it. Carlin, are we forgetting anything? Okay, nothing pending? Okay.
I wanted to give both Miss Annette and Miss Erica some time if they would care to share. They truly were stars in sharing their reflections, their memories, and really inspired folks who attended both the student presentations and then our community conversations. Just wonderful things that they both shared. So I would love for them to talk a little bit about that if they would care to do so. I know Mr. Dura and Ms. Williams have wanted to be at both events, and circumstances prevented. So I know they would be eager to hear at least a little bit about your experiences during both of those events.
Well, I'll go first. They were definitely it's definitely a wonderful exhibit, and if you did not get a chance to see it, and we have the opportunity is still there, I would encourage everyone to. And my hat off to um, Michelle and Heather for the work they did. It was just a reminder of things, and so I shared personal experiences, but I won't go into those today because some of them I've shared with you before. But definitely want to compliment the students as well for their presentations. And I think what I need to do, Madam Chairman, is just give you a specific date that I'm going to attend because I tend to forget it unless I've got it as an appointment. But I would be willing to meet and do an oral history with your students. The other thing I have is not related to that, but before Erica speaks, if I could just bring this up, I got an email from a Mike Wakeford who is putting together an informal a, a meeting of history-minded organizations in Forsyth County to discuss the semi-quincentennial 250th birthday of our area. So I don't know. Is this something I volunteered for and forgot? Because it's as if I'm representing AAHI. So do you all remember us discussing this?
No, I wonder if Mike, Dr. Wakeford, he might have reached out to you because of your appointment to the markers
Okay.
program. I
Well,
know he will also be he's also on board. He's one of the history professors at UNCSA, and then as you said, he's the
right.
director of Muse, and he does support AAHI. He's very eager to support us. So any collaborative work we would do with his with the museum, and I might have mentioned before that he told me last summer that he would love for Muse to be able to sponsor AAHI events once the museum opens back up. So I would
Okay.
encourage any of us on the committee who he might contact. I think he's really a good person, and he represents organizations that would be great to work with.
Well, he reached out to me about a meeting they're having on April 11th, but I will be out of town. And so then he sent me back a note saying that would I like to invite somebody else from this group. And so I'm wondering if anybody is available to attend a meeting on April 11th, which I think is next Thursday at 3:00, and it's going to be at Muse because I will not be able to go.
Let's see. I might be able to. I don't think I have any committee meetings that day.
I'll forward the email to I forward the email to you, I
Okay.
believe, but I can send it again just in case. And if anybody else on the committee is interested, because I'm like, well, I don't remember signing up for this, but like you said, maybe he did reach out to me. But I won't be able to attend that first meeting.
Mr. Dura or Ms. Williams, would you be interested in attending that meeting and meeting Mike and everyone there?
I won't be able to do it on April 11th. I'm having a procedure that day, so I'll probably be out of commission for a couple of days. But sometime after that could work if we could set a time, kind of a future time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up, Miss Annette.
Okay, and it does say further on that if we can only attend virtually, they might be able to arrange that. So again, I'll forward it to you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to share anything more about your experiences at the We Built This events?
No, as I said, I think the thing for me was it just made me realize I do have experiences that are worth sharing. But I think that since we're at 3 o'clock, again, some of you've heard some of my stories, but the thing is, we all do have stories, and so we probably just need to make a commitment to take time to record them and to share materials.
And I think when we're engaging with our community members, particularly our elders, as you said, Miss Annette, sometimes we can sort of prompt them just with a little question, or maybe share something that we have learned or thought about or experienced. And then they might realize, oh wow, I really do have something special to share. So if we just throw little sort of nuggets out there, I think they will take that and go with it. And so that's, I think, one of the roles that we could play just in getting out there and meeting folks and inviting them into these conversations. So,
And maybe we can take as we reflected on the buildings that were referenced in the exhibit and the people that were referenced in the exhibit, that might help us if we shared those whenever we do have our gathering or whatever, just ask the question, well, what do you remember about this? To have something that gives them a starting point. What do you remember about the Negro Fair? What do you remember about Mr. Morrell's construction company or whatever? I think if we could have some questions like that, that would give them a starting point, that would help.
absolutely. Thank you. Miss Erica, did you want to share about your reflections on the two events?
Real quick. So as obviously this is part of my job, but and part of my assignment, but it was also very interesting personally to me. And it turned out to be a little more personal than I thought it was going to be. But just to hear about and we talk about struggle and what our elders have done, but something that I held so dear in my heart to hear the stories about the East Winston Library and the fights to keep it open and who those people were. That was a really, really informative and personal. And so, and Miss Annette, I appreciate you for your stories. I went back, like I said, I told my dad some things, and I'm trying to get him to come around, but I would just say, take the time to sit and listen to, we talk about sitting at the feet of our elders and listen. And I don't think we do enough of that anymore. And so, and then let me also just take a moment to thank Javier for translating. I don't know if any of you have seen the book that they put out in Spanish, but that they translated all of the panels into Spanish, and Javier from our department did that. And so it looks like a calendar, but
okay.
if you read through it, if you look through it, we built this in Spanish. And so I'm personally proud of him, for being a part of that. It's been an awesome experience.
Thank you, Miss Erica. I didn't realize it was Javier who did the translation. So thank you very much for sharing that. I had heard it was going to be translated. And I know that Preservation North Carolina was grateful that our city was going to do that. So, but it's great that it was Javier who actually took that on. So I know we're quite appreciative of that. And I should also say we were so appreciative for what your office did, Miss Wanda, everyone from your office for the February launch at Union Station. It was just wonderful. And so I think it was just a great success and really a celebration of our community in so many ways. And it brought us together in very beautiful ways. And hearing Miss Evelyn Terry in February, that was great. And so we really appreciate everything that your office did. And Miss Erica, we know it's part of your job, but you went beyond and really you really were involved as a community member too, and that was very, very special. So thank you.
I have one other question. Erica, do we have any more of those bookmarks that we passed out at the thing? Because as you all know, you saw the flyer that was sent from about commemorating Dr. King's visit here on April 13th. And I was just wondering if I could get some of those to pass out then, because again, that's sharing information about AAHI and what we're trying to do. You're on mute.
Will you see Renee Phillips in the next
If you
couple
get
of
it,
days?
I'll see her tomorrow.
I'll take them down to her because I'll be taking the students to Lake Norman the weekend of the MLK event.
Okay. All right. But I will also try to make sure that it's announced that at that event that we are interested in retrieving information. So if I can have those, I can make sure those are distributed as well.
Miss Annette, do you want to no, you sent me the invitation, and I believe everybody in AHI now has the invitation for the Dr. King event in a few weeks, but do you want to share more about that event?
Well, just we're commemorating the fact that Dr. King's only spoke in Winston-Salem twice, once at Goler and once at Wake Forest. And so this is actually the 60th anniversary to the date. He was here April 13th, 60 years ago, but it was not on a Saturday, but this year falls on a Saturday. And we're just having a wreath laying ceremony. And the program will include remarks from a couple of people that were actually there that night, as well as just have a wreath laying, because the church does have a stone marker on the porch that commemorates him speaking there. So we're just excited about that. And of course, you all are invited to join us. That's at 11 o'clock on Saturday, April 13th at Goler Metropolitan, which is located at the corner of 4th and Dunleaf. There are two Golers. This is not the one on Patterson. This is the one at 4th and Dunleaf. So, of course, you all are welcome, and bring your family and share it with friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Annette. I plan to be there. It's going to be a really historic event, I believe. So.
Yes, we think so.
And you've been instrumental in organizing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other thoughts or questions or any final comments before we close for today?
Oh, and for the record, I would like to thank Mr. Flynn, because he was definitely worked hard, and just the facility at Winston-Salem State was wonderful for the exhibit as well as the one at Union Station. So we're really fortunate in our community to have access to these resources and the support of the institutional support that we receive.
Yes, indeed. And he was very, very committed. Well, he's committed to AHI, and he really did a lot behind the scenes so we could move the exhibition to our library. And we should also formally thank our library director, Wanda Brown, because she, of course, she also agreed so that WSSU and our archive and library, our official sponsors, our institutional sponsors of AHI, so that we can house all of our oral histories and digital images for or in Digital North Carolina. So she's supported us along with Mr. Flynn in, I think, pretty significant ways.
And Chair Villa-Gomez, thank you. And I do have to bow out. I have a 3 o'clock that I'm late for, but I did just want to encourage everyone on the committee to share their oral histories if they've not done so. Because remember, we were saying that if we have AAHI committee members to share their oral histories, then that would be leading by example. So if you have not shared your oral history, please do so, so that we can use those as examples for the community to see. So I just wanted to say that as we close out, but thank you.
Thank you so much. And yes, we can make that happen in lots of different ways. Mr. Flynn or my class or possibly Ms. Erica and I. So if folks are interested, we can make that happen. Thank you everyone for joining today. I think we accomplished a lot. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, May 1st. So hopefully we'll at least be in touch virtually in some capacity over the month of April. And I'll make sure to reach out to everyone if anything significant comes up. But we'll be back here on Wednesday, May 1st. So thank you and take good care. See you next month.
Thank you for all you do as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.